If you knew me before, you wouldn't even look my way. If I had the nerve to speak, you wouldn't hear what I say. Time has come and gone so fast, we're not who we used to be.
And welcome back to Sullivan's Unheard Voices. I'm here with Frenchie from Frenchie Moe. I have to say, like, I've been listening to your music nonstop, and your ability to capture the blues in the guitar is nothing short of amazing.
Thank
I
you.
love the sound that you get out of the music that you put out
Uh,
there. How did
it's
you
a
get
long
started
story,
in
but
music?
basically, my parents were not musicians. My dad used to hang out in bars in Europe, where I'm from, and he used to take me along with him when I was about 8, 9 years old, and this is how we encountered blues musicians, and I heard blues for the first time. And it sounds corny, but right there and then, I thought this is what I want to do. um, and my dad befriended this English bluesman whose name is Victor Brox, Brox, and he became my mentor. He became a family friend and started teaching me. Then later on, members of his band started teaching me, and those people mostly did that for no money. They just sort of picked me and mentored me for several years when I was a teenager, and that got me started in the blues.
And
Yes,
then, so
yes,
when you
yes.
saw this blues band, were you in France at the time?
No.
So was blues like a
Very random.
common thing in
Very random.
France, or was this like one of those
Extremely random.
random
The only thing I can
chance?
say though is that was in the '90s, and I feel like there was sort of a revival of blues in the '90s everywhere. I mean, in the States, even in Europe. But no, it wasn't like a mainstream thing. So it was a chance encounter. You can say that.
See, and I really appreciate that too, because like one of those things that I've enjoyed on my journey in music is just how random situations or random events can lead to life-changing events. And I think that's amazing that you had that experience of like your first blues and then you just knew, because like I can tell from your music and how you play that blues is in your blood. And
Well,
it's one of those things like I'm so
I
glad you
just
had
have
that
to
chance to
say,
play
I'm
with
kind
us.
of
So
light
what
for
was
it
the
to
first
be in
time you
my
picked up a
blood. See,
guitar?
it's not in my blood. I'm kind of light for that. But BB King said, I don't know exactly how he put it, but he said the blues came out of slavery and from African American people, but then it traveled and it went all over the world, and now anybody can have the blues anywhere, and that's what BB King said, and I tend to go with that. Going back on your question, I'm sorry.
No worries.
um,
When
I was about
when
8 years
did you
old.
pick up
Yeah,
the
but my
guitar?
parents got me a really cheap acoustic guitar. I think it was a nylon guitar. So I was about 8, and it was maybe a couple of years before anybody started showing me chords and all that.
And so basically, you had a guitar and you sort of
Right,
were
but
learning on
that
your
wouldn't go
own
very
before
far
somebody
because you
showed you
got to
how to actually
remember.
play it, right?
Well, we're probably the same age. Um, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have all this wealth of knowledge that's out there now. So basically, if you were on your own learning something, you were on your own. Yes, I remember. Well, I remember
And
the
do you
first
remember the
blues
first
song I
song
wanted
you
to
played?
learn, and I learned it probably pretty poorly. But it was "Got My Mojo Working." It's a Muddy Waters song, and this is the first tune where I thought, oh, I want to learn this blues tune. Um, and yeah, oh, you know that song?
That's a good one to start on too. And so, like, do you remember?
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
you
Sorry.
just cut off for a second.
No worries. So I was just asking, like, so when you pick up the guitar and you start sort of learning this stuff, do you remember a point when you said, "I'm actually
No,
pretty good
I
at
mean,
this"?
I got some good feedback from the first teacher I ever had who said, yeah, you have potential. Um, uh, but for years, I didn't think I was so special, and there's a lot of things to it. Nowadays there's a lot of female players out there, and they're kicking butt and they're awesome. But the funny thing is, in the 90s, even early 2000, I don't really remember seeing many female players in that genre, except maybe Bonnie Raitt. Bonnie Raitt is a big example, and I love her, by the way. Um, so I wasn't really sure that I had something, and truthfully, um, there's been a lot of controversy whether people like the way I sing or people like the way I play. And to a point, it still goes till now, except what I have on my side now is the last few years, I've had some albums that have had some good reviews and things like that in national magazines. But I'm in my late 30s. It took a long time to get any type of, what is the word, validation.
Yeah, and I think that's unfortunate too, right? Because like even like the way you open your song and the way you open your music, just like with those notes that you have from the guitar, is just it's on point blues. So I just have to say,
But
anybody
thank you.
that gives you any negative
You
feedback can
know,
go
it,
take a
it's
ride.
yeah.
I really mean that. That video that you have out
The
there.
which one?
Go ahead,
Which
please. What you're
video
gonna say? It's
are
funny.
we
Yes,
talking?
please.
Um.
You were gonna say something. It's funny.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
The one with you in the woods.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure what I was gonna say about that. Yeah, yeah. The thing is, though, every musician, and I think as artists, we're like junkies for validation all the time, and I'm trying to move away from that, and I'm trying to continue playing because it makes me happy. And this is, I'm telling you this right now, but it's really hard to apply. I'm just still like I'm still young on this path, but I hope to achieve it and get to a point where validation from the outside world will be secondary to my happiness, if that makes sense.
It totally does, right? And it's like it's kind of like that,
Yeah.
like how I feel about this podcast, right? Like I do this because I love it. Will it make money and be big someday? Who knows? I don't really care. I don't need that validation. My validation is from the artists I interview, where they say, "Oh, that was a great interview," because that's what I care about, And too many times when you have these interviews of musicians, they don't focus a lot of the interview on the
Yeah.
music and the musicality, and I think a lot of people miss out on that because so much
Oh
work
gosh, it does.
goes into just producing one video. And so anybody that says like, "Oh, I can do it," yeah, pick up a guitar, do it. No. So
Wait, that
what was
was
the
about a
process
year
like
and a
for
half
making that
ago.
video?
Actually, it went really smooth because right, we already had the track
Yeah,
from
Crawfish
recording
Heads.
my last album, Soulful Tonight. So we already had the music, we already had the track, which is big. And then I'm lucky enough that I've been working with a local producer who's not big time, but he's very special to me. His name is Louis Diabin, and he's here outside on the outskirts of New Orleans. And because we have a tight relationship and he knows what I'm after and all that, by now it's been about 5 years, I think, that we work together. Um, Going to the woods and really it was City Park in New Orleans. And doing this video wasn't so hard because we had already spoken about what we wanted, and already I had. He sort of has a feel for how I want to appear to people and how I don't want to appear to people, and my philosophy a lot of time is less is more. Like you'll never hear from my music a whole lot of special effects, and same thing for videos. I want videos to reflect as much as possible real life. Um, and we're in an era where everybody want to use autotune and everybody want to appear with filters. Well, I'm appearing with no filter right now. This is me. uh, and especially in the music genre I'm doing, I believe that we can't be too much over the top. It has to reflect life.
I completely agree, and especially like with the genre of like blues in particular, where I don't think it's good. I don't know if this is going to be controversial to
Yeah,
say or not, but I don't
yeah,
think
exactly.
autotune has a
But
place in the
but yeah, I'm
blues.
not gonna lie to you, and
You
yeah,
know what
that
I
could be a
mean?
controversial subject. Blues is being glamorized right now, and there's a whole lot of musicians out there who are more like pop and rock musicians, but they want to claim to the blues, and in a way, I could say it does hurt the people who are trying to do real blues, um, because we're all being stuffed together, even though we're not doing the same thing. And I respect some of them. Some of them do things that I totally respect. The issue is they are hogging spots in blues festivals and things like that when really they're doing rock and pop, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we're losing sight of actual blues music, and it's hard to define. Of course, I mean, you could ask me what defines blues, but when you see people who are putting so many effects in their music and everything screams of they want to be rock stars. They don't want to be bluesmen and blues women. If that makes any sense. Yeah.
Oh, and there's a huge difference, right? Because like, and I think so. I've seen sort of like in the rock industry in
Oh
particular,
yeah.
it's very sort of um, cutthroat, aggressive, sort of very competitive. Whereas contrasting with the
Yes. Oh
blues, you'll find
yes.
most blues musicians want to collaborate, they want to jam together, they want to like do
Yes. Yes. Well,
music
blues is a
together, and
tradition,
I think
and that's what
that's
I was
the big
told.
difference.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
Because,
sorry.
like, for example,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, blues is a
no, no,
tradition,
you
and that's what
please.
I was told when I
This
was
interview is about
mentored
you.
as a kid by those older musicians, and they told me it's a thing that you pass on from generation to generation, and to a lot of people, I think they don't understand that concept. People coming from rock and pop, they want to revolution everything. Well, here's the thing: sometimes a genre of music like blues and jazz is the same. Just needs people to pass on the tradition. And personally, ask me if I have a problem fitting in a tradition. No, I don't. If it makes me happy and it makes other people happy, I may not revolution any of this, but I'm okay with it. So it's sort of like it's like a spiritual
Yeah,
practice that you pass
and
on,
one of
and as long as it makes you happy and it makes other people happy, this is what it's about. And you may not create anything brand new out of it. The only new thing that I can think about is everybody has a different personality. So what I put on my personality in the blues that I play is what makes it unique. But um, musically, none of the notes I play uh, are brand new. Everything I do has been done, and I'm okay with this.
And to a certain extent, you're
Right.
right. At the same time, though, there is that sort of individuality. Like I can't get
Oh,
over your rendition of something you got when you did that in French. Like that one was like oh, that's so cool. How did you come up with the idea of because like how did because what I think of when I hear that song is how hard it is to find a music that is sort of in English sort of verse and matching
no,
it
it
with the
came
French
pretty easily.
language.
But
Was
I
that
gotta
hard
tell
to
you, and
do?
that's a subject I've been thinking about lately. People have been asking me over and over to do more things in French, which is my first language. And I'm thinking about it. At some point, I'm gonna have to come up with more French music. Um, and it's not that I'm rejecting my heritage. Actually, I'm trying to embrace it more and more. You know, being in this state here in Louisiana, even though I've been in New Orleans, and this is not the most French place because it's a multicultural place with a lot of people from other places who move here. Um, but I'm really interested right now in looking at other towns in Louisiana, possibly to even move there. Places like maybe Lafayette, who's very French. You will go there and you will actually find people who speak French on the street. And I'm trying to find my, the right spot for me between doing American music, which I love, and I came to America to do American music. I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, I'm in this state here in Louisiana that speaks to my heritage as a French person, and I want to do something with that too. Um, so I think it's gonna be probably back and forth between blues in English and hopefully more French tunes in the future. The thing you gotta understand though, if you do, if I were to do a whole album in French, this may have no recognition outside of the state where I'm at, and that's sort of a problem because of course you want to have radios in other states, playing your music. So I think you have to always navigate between both if you want to be successful.
I can appreciate that too because I can imagine like if you did an
Right,
entire album
right,
in
and
French,
I love
it
to
might
sing in
turn off
English
some
too.
folks in the American
Well,
industry,
yeah,
which is unfortunate. It's dumb.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
think
hmm So
hello.
like one of the things I love to talk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we have
Go ahead. Go
artists
ahead. You were
here
saying
in
I think.
Louisiana who are not necessarily blues, but more like in the Zydeco genre and Cajun, who navigate between English lyrics and French lyrics all the time. And I really would like to take a cue from some of them. So that's what I was going to say. Zydeco,
You said what kind of
Zydeco
music
music.
before you said Cajun?
Oh, well, yeah, I
I'm
must
not
not
familiar with this.
say it, pronounce it right. Zydeco, Zydeco. Are you guys not familiar with Zydeco there in Portland? Oh,
I
oh wow,
am
oh wow.
not.
All right.
I
So
will
so
be
just
soon,
to
though.
explain real quick,
That's so awesome.
it's a type of blues that started between Louisiana and Texas, and it's the main characteristic is it's played with accordion, like Cajun music, but the chords and all that are actually blues. I mean, like I'm sure you've heard of Clifton Chenier, which was one of the pioneers of the genre. So that's Zydeco, and it's really blues, but there are some French lyrics and there's a lot of accordion in it. Um, but it's usually enjoyed by a lot of blues fans too.
I really appreciate that. That's a whole new genre that I am going to get into now because
Oh,
I'm
I'm
always
sure
looking
you've
for
heard
new
it.
kinds
I'm
of
sure
music.
you've heard
Thank
it.
you for that. One of the things that oh, I'm gonna listen to it afterwards. I'm sure it's true, but it's like one of those things where you don't know there's a name to it until you like, oh, okay,
Right?
you
Maybe
can
you
call it
guys call it
something, and it
just
makes it
Cajun
easier to
music. I don't know.
find.
Well, I'm not sure if you guys call it. I was gonna say I'm not sure if you guys call it anything
Well,
because
one of the things
you're
that
you're all the way up there in Portland, right?
I don't know either.
That's where you are right now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Yeah, and I'm looking at it. Like some of the things on there, I pulled it up. There's a couple of Zydeco, Louisiana Creole accordion
I
sort of stuff
understand
like
why. Yeah,
that,
it's a
and it's like
different.
that's
It's
not something that's
cultural
common up here at
differences.
all.
I get it.
That's awesome.
I
So one of the things that I
yeah.
love to talk to musicians about is the muse, um, because I think of the muse as like a living thing. So what do you do when the music visits you? So like when you get an idea of a song, is like do you write it down? Do you like record
It's
it?
funny you
Like
should
what
talk about
happens
that
when the
because
muse visits you?
in the past couple of weeks I had something known as writer's block for a little bit, and I was really frustrated with myself because we're really close to finishing my next album. We're very, very close, and I had this one song that I had to finish writing. And now I'm not gonna lie, most of the album is other people's material, some of my friends' material, songwriters that I personally know, and there's some covers. So I haven't written a whole lot for that album, but there's this one song, and I was trying to finish it and really be in the moment of when I started writing it, which is like 10 years ago, in a whole different situation than the one I'm in right now. And I was trying to put myself back into where I was 10 years ago. Um, and what I do is I record things on my phone. I got a little app, and sometimes it's just talking like a few words. Sometimes I grab the guitar and it's two riffs. And the problem is, I end up with like maybe 3,000 ideas in there, and I don't know, only 50 of them are ever going to be songs one day, over 3,000 riffs. Um, Ultimately, I'm gonna be honest with you. I sort of moved away from writing all the time the last 10 years because I became a mom. I have an 11-year-old daughter, and writing is not a 9 to 5 thing. It's a thing that will keep you up at night, and you will get no sleep at all, and then you'll have to go to work the next day, and you will be really cranky to your kids and everybody else. Um, which is why I block a lot of things that I could be doing writing wise because I just may not have the energy and the time for it at this point in my life. And I'm hoping later on I will again, but right now is kind of a challenging time in my life. I'm gonna be honest. Um, you know,
I'm sorry to hear that. That's got to be frustrating, but at the
yeah,
same
yeah.
time, I
Well, I
totally
guess
get it.
the main thing that you can keep with you is, and you probably know that writing is not a 9 to 5 job. This is something. It's sort of like drugs or an addiction. Once you start an idea, it will consume you. It will keep you up. You will not be eating. You will not be sleeping. And I'm sure it's that way for a lot of people. I doubt there are a lot of creative people out there who go like, oh, I can block this time from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. and I will write something. It just does not work like that. You know. Yeah.
I've probably interviewed 30 musicians at this point, and not a
Yeah.
single one of them says they can do it in 3 to 5
So what
hours.
I like to do,
So you're
I
absolutely
see this
right.
as an opportunity because, of course, there are
And do you know?
musicians out there who only perform what they write, and I really admire this. But the fact that I don't write all my music at this point, I think it gives me an opportunity to use songs that my friends are writing, use songs that songwriters I know are writing, and material that's obscure and material that is not being exposed for everybody to see the way I think it should be. And I think if you take an album and the material has been written by different people, it makes it richer because you have different angles, and like it or not, the way everybody writes is usually mostly one or two angles. It's just hard to. We all have a specific style, and it's hard to get out of your head and do something completely different unless you do material by different songwriters. So I firmly believe in doing that.
And I really appreciate that too, right? Because sometimes when you breathe life into a song that somebody else has done, and you have that sort of different angle, it allows people the
Yes,
opportunity to
yes.
go
Sometimes
back
it's
and
like you
listen to that
translate
song
it
that
for
they may
people,
not
and
have heard otherwise.
it's funny. Somebody told me that one day. I did a cover of a song from a New Orleans musician actually, and I did it differently, and somebody in the audience told me it's like you translated it for everybody else. like not actual translate with the lyrics, but the way I did it, it's like, oh, you're making this song more accessible, and that was a wonderful thing to hear because I didn't think of it that way. But it's like sometimes, we take somebody's material and we all of a sudden make it more accessible. Um, or maybe it's because people may be more receptive to having somebody different do the song. I mean, it could be a lot of things, but that's the beauty of interpretation.
And then when you're getting ready for sort of like live shows like that, like
Um,
how do you prepare for a
you
show
mean
on
like the day
stage?
of or beforehand, or are you talking like actual preparation
The
or
day
like
of.
mental preparation, or both? Um, there's this
A little
funny
bit of
thing. I
both.
can have 99 problems in my life. If I get on the stage and I start playing and singing, um, everything vanishes. I'm in the moment. And I think this is what this music was created for, to be in the moment and to feel connected in the moment. And so usually I never have a problem being distracted on stage. I just go and do this. I'm one of those people. I don't have a lot of anxiety. I just go and I do my thing. And I know it's not a common thing because there's a lot of very accomplished musicians who are still scared and anxious to get on the stage. And I just don't have a whole lot of that. I guess I'm blessed with that. But I don't know. As a vocalist, there's a lot of things like these days. If I'm gonna have an important gig, I find myself taking supplements, a week before just to not get sick. Because if you get like a throat condition or something, this could totally ruin the show. Especially when you're like trying to reach for pretty high notes, which I do sometimes in my show. You gotta keep your voice or as healthy, and that's really challenging because unlike any other people who play external instruments, we don't always you have to take care of your voice more than anything else. So that's challenging, and I'm not a full time musician. I'm a blue collar musician. I have a job, and I don't get to perform every day or even every week. So I can't talk for the people who are touring and all that because this is not what I do. But I always wonder and think this is like a really really challenging thing to do. To be an entertainer and a musician and do this every week, every day, all the time. And truthfully, I don't know that we're meant to do that, for life. Because you see, people have a certain expiration date. I hate to say, but at some point, touring musicians get really tired, and they have to find other avenues than just touring all the time. I just don't think we're meant to tour our whole lives. It would be too challenging for anybody. And I know you might argue some people are doing it, but are they really doing it all the time, or are they taking breaks? Are they? Who knows?
100%, right? And I think people don't realize the
Yeah, yeah,
impact that touring has on the mind and the body because you're throwing in all of these extra factors along the way that you never get if you're not doing that. And I could only imagine, like, uh,
yeah.
singing like every day for six
Well,
months.
I like to use Mick
Ah.
Jagger as a. I like to use Mick Jagger as an
So in terms
example
of like,
because, well, of course, we all love the Rolling Stones, but he's somebody I used to read, some of his parts in books that he wrote about how to keep yourself in shape for touring. And he just really, of course, he may have done drugs and all that when he was younger, but I think he came to a certain point, I don't know, maybe 50 or before, where he tried to see it as being an athlete, like you train every day. And I totally can relate to that. Like, okay, here's somebody who's tried to decode how to do this, professionally, And he was saying somewhere, I guess, in a book that he was physically training every single day, like lifting weights and running. But I think there's something to it if somebody wanted to do this all the time, their whole life. And, I don't have an addictive personality. I'm lucky that, I can drink one day and not want to drink the next day. I can smoke one day and not want to smoke the next day. But I totally understand how musicians are very prone to getting into addiction because when you perform, it gets so intense. You go home, and a lot of times you don't want to go to sleep. You're wired by the connection of music and the audience and the connection with the band members. And if I were doing this every day all the time, I could see how I would go like, I need a dollar. I need something to put me to sleep because we all need sleep. And it's what music does to a lot of us. I think possibly everybody. You come out of stage and you're just wired. It's a very good feel. But does it interfere with sleep? Yeah, it does. It does.
And I think that's the biggest difference, right? Because if you're there as an audience member to enjoy the music, you're just there to enjoy the music. Somebody like you, who, and I must admit, you have this way of commanding the stage that is very, like, you can tell, right? So when you're on stage as a musician, you're trying to be on the same mental wavelength as everyone else on the stage. And so you have to be way more active with your brain just to make sure that you're reading cues from your drummer, you're reading cues from the guitars, you're reading cues from the bass player, you're reading cues from the audience. All of this going on at the same time when you're trying to maintain timing, you're trying to maintain lyrics, all of this stuff is going on. And so, like, when you're done with the
Oh yeah,
performance, your brain is still in that active mode.
yeah. It
And I
is
would
really
imagine
hard,
it's
and I'm
really
gonna
hard
say
to
something kind of, I don't know if it's arrogant or whatever it is, but I'm used to being a band leader. So basically, I'm the one giving cues to everybody. Do they ever give me cues? Not really, because I'm just used to putting the music together, putting the band together, and picking the tune and deciding where the show is going. So I'm always giving cues to people, and I'm gonna be honest. I've never really been for very long amounts of time in the other on the other side where you're a side man, you're a side musician, and you have to pick up cues from people. And I'm not saying one is easier than the other because being a band leader is exhausting. You have so many responsibilities, and for example, if people don't get paid, you have to come out of pocket and pay them. This is like you hire the musicians for a job, and you're the one to oversee. I'm talking, at a low level, like the type of gigs that I'm doing. You oversee that all the musicians are taken care of. It's kind of sort of like you're a parent. Actually, it's very much like you're a parent. Um, so yeah.
I can see that. And like when you're doing gigs like that, it's like, have there been
Oh yeah, this
instances
has
where like the
happened many
house
many
doesn't
times. Now
like want to
the
pay
thing
you?
is, I'm reaching a point where I don't take gigs that can turn out that way much longer. I mean, I try not to. I stay away from a lot of gigs. I basically play less because I don't really want to deal with the hassle right now. And if I ever get a person to book for me and do things for me, maybe we could look at more shows. But right now, I'm just the only person booking. And that means I'm very picky on what I accept at this point. Yeah,
Which you kind of have to be too, right? Because like, yeah, if you're not picky, like I understand like when you're first starting out and you can't be picky, but at the same time, like once you reach a certain level,
right.
you have to pay attention to things like the sound quality and like the audience quality because it's part of your brand at this point, and you want to make sure that whatever you do
Right, and I
book
gotta tell you, I
fits
mean, to
with
be
what you're
fully
trying
honest,
to convey.
what I'm trying to do right now in my career is I'm trying to shoot for bigger shows. festivals and things like that, and pull away from doing that many clubs. I still love the clubs. I still love bars. It's part of who I am. But I I would like to you know go to more and more festivals, and we don't have a whole lot booked right now. We have one major festival in September in North Louisiana. It's about 5 hours from New Orleans. So I'm really excited about that. But and I hope to get more and more as we go. But a lot of part of what it is to get to those festivals, and you have to have a bigger profile. And I've been trying to grow my profile, with the albums and the reviews. And I know you contacted me through Timmer from Lightning in a Bottle label, and they just signed me this year. So we just
Yeah.
started this collaboration, and we haven't done much of anything together yet, but we are. And we'll see how that goes. And I really hope to maybe come up there to Portland and play for you guys at some point, and possibly play with Timmer and a backing band and something like that. But we are at the very beginning of that collaboration, and we'll see how that goes. But the thought was, it's good to have people. It's good to have a team and not do
Well,
everything on your own. Oh,
and
really?
when you
Really?
do head up to Portland, let me know
All
because
right,
I will
all
be
right.
there. I won't miss that one. Oh yeah. Uh huh. Uh huh.
I can't wait to
Yeah.
meet you. I
If
hope
you
that
come up here, I
happens.
will. I will be at your show. 100%. Uh huh. I hope so too. It's so awesome. And one of the things that also that I've seen in terms of your music is just how well you're able to sort of play those notes on the guitar. Is there a certain kind of amp or a certain kind of guitar that
It's funny
allows you
you
for
would
that
ask that,
particular
because
kind of
you
sound?
talking to the most low tech, no gear, crappy gear musician there is out there. No, I mean, not that I don't believe in having decent gear, but I'm not a gear type musician. So there's a sound that I like, and that's very personal, and it may not work for another person. I am kind of hung up on Telecasters. This is my main instrument. I own a few of them. Um, and amp wise, I currently play a Roland, and that's a weird choice too. I moved away from Fender. I wanted something less bright and a warmer tone. It's usually something that jazz musicians tend to pick. So does it make any sense as a blues musician? Probably not. But I enjoy Roland amps, and it's very personal. It's very personal, and I think I'm still working on my sound. I think it takes years to really own your sound, and I'm still working on it. I'm not gonna lie. Um, Actually, matter of fact, two albums ago, we had a pretty decent album called "Way Down in Hustleville," and that came out in 2021. And some of the critics told me, um, your sound is not distinctive enough, and it's uh, it's too bland. And I've been really working on that ever since. And I think I know what they were saying. I don't like a lot of effect. I like things to be fairly clean, but you still have to find some distinction in your sound. um, and yeah, I'm not big on distortion and all that stuff, as you probably can hear.
And I appreciate that about your music,
Right,
right?
well,
I'm not a big fan of distortion. I
exactly.
want
Well,
to
what
actually
happens
hear the
if you
guitar.
have tons of
Like I want to
overdrive,
hear the
distortion, and all that?
notes.
You can play very poorly, but nobody will be able to tell. And I find that sad. So I do want people to hear the notes I'm playing clearly, and I don't want to just play sloppy all the time. And because I got so many effects, nobody can tell. I think that's kind of sad, but it's yeah, it's happening out there. um,
And if that's what you need to put out good music, I get that too. And just the, but at the same time, it's like I know too many
Well,
really
you
good
know, this
guitarists
is
out there
why
that are looking
sometimes,
for
and still
work,
to
and
this
it's
day,
like,
I wish I could go back and maybe learn a different instrument than guitar, maybe piano or something different. Because I tell everybody there are too many guitar players out there. We need to, like, I don't know, send some of them to Mars, or I don't know, euthanize the worst kind. I don't know. We need to, like, reduce the population of guitar players out there, and maybe myself included. I don't know. I get tired of guitar players, guitar heroes. It's just we've gotten to a point where I was reading some statistics the other day. I think something like maybe close to 30% of the world population can play some guitar. That is way too much, you know. And I had this I had this fear that my daughter would want to play guitar. Of course, if she does, I will not stop her. I will try and help her. But I was like, oh my god, I'm a guitar player. Her father was a guitar player, and I was like, oh god, please tell me I did not procreate another guitar player. But I think we're safe from that. She's really into theater and singing at the moment, so um, hopefully not another guitar player. You know, this is not what the world needs. You know, so I don't know if there are little girls out there or little boys. Pick up something else. Pick up a piano, an accordion, um, anything else, please, and thank you. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, pick up the drums. You know,
Exactly.
that's
No,
one of
no,
those
I tell
things
you
where
what, you know
everybody
what's
seems
really
to be
needed
needing
right
a
now?
drummer.
Bass players. And bass players who play funky and who play like, you know, like in the 70s and the 80s, really distinctive, you know, bass. I think we need more bass players that have personality. We need that. There you go. And that's a little, I'm sure Timmer would agree with that.
100%. 100%. You know, because like I've seen what Timmer can do on the bass, and then like it's like,
Yeah, actually,
wow.
I'm very much looking forward to playing with him. I'm very much looking forward to doing that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I couldn't agree more. And he's also one of my favorite people on the planet. You know, it's one of the things that this podcast is dedicated to is kindness and openness, and just making sure that people are, you know, kind to
Yeah.
people. So if somebody's at one of your shows and the show wraps up, how do you want fans to engage with you? Are you like
No,
done
no,
with the
no.
show? Do you want people to be like, "Let me rest," sort of
I
like
love to talk
calm
to
down,
people.
or are you the
That's a
kind of
great
artist to say,
part
"No, come up and
of
talk to me"?
playing live shows is interacting with
I
people,
knew it.
and I just love that. I love that. And if you're asking me if I would be like Van Morrison, then she's gonna be really rude. And no, that's not. I'm not Van Morrison. I'm you know. And I can say that because I was at a Van Morrison concert and he was extremely rude, you know. But no, I love talking with people. Actually, I love to have drinks with people after the show. I love all of that. And sadly, we sometimes we play some shows where we have to pack up and leave, or maybe there's another band after us, and that's really challenging because you want to tell the audience, I want to talk to you, but I got to do this right now. I have to pack. I have to pay the musicians. I have to. So you have to sort of, you know, juggle all that. And that's something I remember playing some years back with with musicians that did not understand that, and they used to tell me. Why do you spend so much time after the show talking to people? We need to wrap up. We need to do this. And I had to just say, okay, stop everything. This is part of being a front person. This is part of being a band leader. This is part of you have to take this time to talk to people, and you cannot be rude or escape, or this is to me it hurts the show. Like if I see a great show and a great band and I want to talk to the people at the end and they'll totally dismiss me, I'll be pissed. Yeah. You know, I mean, um, But for somebody who's not a front person, for somebody who only does like
Yeah.
sideman gigs, um, sometimes it's hard to understand how you have to be everywhere as a band leader. You know, you have to run everything at once. Um, and yeah, it's part of it. I don't really know. I guess if you play festivals, it's different. But I played festivals before where you would come down the stage and then people could come and buy CDs from the merch table, and you come to the merch table and you talk to people, and that's possible too in festivals. It doesn't always happen like that, but I think the good thing with small venues is you get to hang out with everybody.
And that's what I want people to understand, right? It's just because you're a fan of the music and you see the musician on stage, don't be afraid to go up and approach the musicians and talk to them after the show. Because, like you were saying, like I want people to understand that from an audience perspective, sometimes we kind of get intimidated and we're like, there's no way that the musician wants us to come up and say, hey, folks. So we know Frenchie had some technical difficulties and wasn't able to join us for the conclusion of this podcast. So I just wanted to throw some things out there because you all need to know. First of all, if you haven't had a chance to check out Frenchie's music, please do so. Look for Frenchie Moe on Facebook and also YouTube, and check out her videos and support her music. She is so unique and so talented. And we hope to have her on again soon as she's working on a new album as we speak. So thank you so much for your support today. And this interview with Frenchie was amazing. Sorry we had to cut it short due to technical difficulties. However, we had to air it in the way it came because sometimes life just is that way.
Suck